Hello, it is a Thursday afternoon. It is December 3rd, I think. And I'm gonna try to get a little mini 3-peak adventure going today. We'll see if I can get all three. The idea is to get Usery Benchmark, Pass Mountain, and Lone Mountain. I'm gonna start out with Usery Benchmark because that one has a little bit of off-trail to it. Parked right here at Bulldog Canyon Trailhead, just below Usery Pass. We're about to cross the road to head over to the trail. So here is Usery Benchmark. Pass Mountain is behind this bump here, and then Lone Mountain is right over there. As I mentioned, Usery Benchmark has a little bit of off-trail setting, so I'll do that first. Only have about an hour and a half left of daylight, so we might not be able to get all three, but we will certainly try. So we're just crossing the road to start the trail, and there's a junction here. We're going to go to the left and get moving. So it looks like there's a nice little cattle guard here to easily cross the fence. And this is where our junction is. Looks like a lot of mountain bikers go this way. It's a lot wider path. Looks like some mountain bikers go this way too. We're gonna be going up this skinnier left path. And that should take us to probably about within half a mile of Usery Benchmark, and that's when we'll start our off-trail segment. Alright, so the trail I was on that was ridden by mountain bikers maybe isn't quite what I was looking for. It looks like the trail I'm looking at is more just this wash. So we're going to follow this wash a little bit, see where we're going. Right now what I'm following is a mark on CalTopo, so on the topo map. It is some OSM data. I have some people going this way previously, so. Alright, so it looks like there's actually been a lot of recent trail work by the mountain biking community. You can see that they still have a lot of it flagged, and it's pretty impressive. And I followed much of it the way up, and I think honestly I'll be able to follow the whole thing all the way back down. It might be a little bit more circuitous, but probably faster instead of going through the wash. But here it looks like it's about to start heading back down, so we're going to leave the trail now right at this saddle between Peak 2933 right over there and the Usery Mountain and the Usery Benchmark right up there. It looks like there's a fair amount of user paths on the way up the mountain that should be pretty easy to follow. This actually is quite a bit more overgrown than I was expecting, so it might be a little bit slower moving than I was initially thinking, but there's probably a couple of different approaches you can take. It looks like some people are just finding their way up. I'm wondering if it might be faster to head over to that northwest ridge over there and take that up instead of trying to get up this loose steep part here. But we'll see where this loose trail takes me. Maybe it actually starts heading over towards that ridge line. So we've made it up most of the bushwhacky steep section of the off-trail ascent. You can see I'm just below the summit block. It's only about 30 horizontal feet from me right now, probably 30 vertical feet too. And we're gonna keep going up this way. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of a perspective. It's not a very clean route. There is another alternative marked on Peakbagger by Greg Keeling. He comes from the other direction. I'm not sure if his route was any cleaner than this one. But right now, this is a little more bushwhacky and steep than I would have hoped for as an off-trail segment, and would only recommend it if you're sure-footed. Alright, here we are at the top of Usery Mountain. You can see across the way, beyond Peak 2933, is the monolith of Pass Mountain. And peeking out above that, you can see the superstitions. Down here in the valley floor is where we came up, in this nice shadow area. It's right across the way there. You can see Lone Mountain, which is one of our objectives today. Just beyond the parking lot, and just beyond Lone Mountain, you can see the Goldfield Mountains. A very cool range that's a little bit small, but pretty impressive looking at least. Further down in the valley, you can see Saguaro Lake, which is a dammed up part of the Salt River, and beyond that, you can see the Four Peaks. It kind of looks like that southern tip of the ridgeline here might be a tad higher. It probably isn't, and this one's marked on the map as higher, but why not go over there anyway? So I'll go check it out. And then I think since this way I came up, this steep face, this steep western face, was a little steep and loose, more than I would like, and probably going to be a little sketchy on the way down. I think the plan is to head north along the ridgeline and see if I can find a better way down, because the trail I think does actually curl around the entire ridgeline. So we'll see what's over there after we go check out the south end of the ridgeline here. Otherwise, we have pretty fantastic views up here and have it all to ourselves. There's Phoenix in the distance there. Right behind the Saguaro, you can see Camelback peeking out over the valley floor, and beyond that, Pastoa. And there's South Mountain in the distance, and Sierra Estrella is even further in the distance there. Not sure how much you can see based off the zoom level, but I definitely recommend coming up here because it's pretty nice. As usual, now that I make it over here, it's pretty clear that that middle point is actually the highest. So we'll go ahead and give it to that one. Here's another interesting way if you're trying to cut some distance and make it a little bit easier. This road here, you could either road walk all the way up. That road is gated at the main road, the main highway, but the gate wasn't closed when I came up. It does look to be gated right about halfway up, but then if you're looking for an easier trip, you could do this road all the way up to the saddle and then take this, it looks like a pretty well-worn path up from there. And you can see this neighborhood down below. That's where the other Peakbagger user marked his path to show his route. So that was probably a much easier route over, because then it's just a pretty easy ridge walk up to the high point. But the views are fantastic up here. There's Mount McDowell and the McDowell mountain range even further behind. So we made it over to the northern end of the ridge, and as I expected, it does look like we're going to have a better way down. It doesn't look like it's directly off of the North Ridge itself. It does look like there's a direction you can go down that way, but I don't see any trails over there. So, and if they do, we're going to have to come back up if we go that way. But as I was coming over here, I did see a user path coming off of the saddle here between the main peak and this northern end sub-peak. And I think that's going to be our most viable option to get down. Much better than the way I took up. As you can see here, the low point of the saddle between the two bumps on the ridge. See, there's a bunch of open areas down here, and you can see a faint user path down this way. So we're going to follow these, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's a pretty good trail system just down a little bit lower, and hopefully this will be a little bit quicker than the way up. This is indeed a much more commonly used path, I believe, and much better way down. So what I'll do is I'll post a link to a map with my tracks with only the downhill route, so you can benefit from me making a couple wrong turns and finding a better way up on the downhill for me. So that way you can take the nice way, both up and down. But yeah, this is so much cleaner than the way I came up. Definitely preferable. All right, we're back on these nice new mountain bike trails. And I'm just gonna take the mountain bike trail all the way back, hopefully avoid that wash section too. So another place where you all benefit from my initial wrong turns. I'll see you back at the trailhead. Alright, so we're coming back on the road again. Thought I'd give a little summary here instead of wait until it got louder by the traffic. But I did hopping back in the wash after a little bit of the mountain bike trails just because it was going to be more direct. And mountain bikers do love their twists and turns. But you can see there was our destination up there, the midpoint of that Usery mountain range, tiny little guy. Elevation was 2,972 feet. Prominence is 857 feet. It might have been a little ambitious of me to think that I was gonna get that one and 2 other peaks on the same trip. But I think I am still gonna try to snag Lone Mountain before the sun sets. Maybe be heading back down in the dark. But I definitely think Pass Mountain is out of the picture for today, but that's okay. I'll come back on another day. And this will probably be the end of the trip report since both Lone Mountain and Pass Mountain are completely on trail anyway, so those should be pretty easy to follow. But as usual, I'd like to thank all of those people who have come before me on these sections of the mountain to clear the paths, make nice trails, especially the mountain bikers who made the trails actually pretty nice. And then map builders, of course. Maps have proved very useful for all these endeavors. Today you can see that a lot of the trips go like this, where you go up one way and then realize it's the wrong way and find a better way down. And finally, also like to thank the original stewards of this land. Primarily here, it's going to be the Pima peoples and the Maricopa peoples. But that's it. Here's our last glimpse of some of the surrounding mountain ranges and the effects of the sunset. Have a good night, everybody.